Hi everyone. Alright, so we're going to go over some basics of algebra just as a quick refresher for any that wants to learn it for the first time or just get a refresh before school or an exam, or maybe you want to try and teach your kids or something. That's perfectly fine. So this is going to be a quick tutorial on, we have a couple different steps of equations. We have a one-step equation, we then have a two-step equation, and then we'll go into just the multi-step equations. These could be 3, 4, 10, 12. It doesn't really matter. Alright, so again, these are all based on Algebra 1. There is one that's not really, it's just an expression really. Before the one step, like a zero step kind of thing, where it's just like x equals 2. So I'll just write that down. Say like technically zero step, or just the equation itself, x equals 2. Separate that out a little bit. Alright. For a one step, it's literally we do one operation. So say we have x plus 2 equals 1. And we want to solve for x in all of these cases. Alright. So we have a choice here. 4 different equations. We want to get this x here all by itself. So we're going to look next to it. I have a plus 2. That means I have to do the opposite for that to be able to be moved. So I want to subtract 2 from both sides. So x plus 2 minus 2. What I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do the other. That's one thing a lot of people tend to forget about. Is what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I have to stay even and balanced. Alright, so now we have x plus 2 minus 2. Well, that's 0. So x equals 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Right. So that's all it is for a one-step equation. As a quick refresher, we have 4 operations. I'll write these down over here. Operations. We have the main operation, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication. I'll use a star for that because sometimes you use x or parentheses. They all mean the same thing. They all mean multiplication. And then we have division, which is a slash or the division sign. Most times you're gonna, out of like pre-algebra and below, you're not gonna see the division sign. You're gonna see a slash or a fraction, because division itself means fractions. Alright, so when we're doing these things, these 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on step equations, we want to be able to know what the operation originally is, and we need to then do its opposite to get it to disappear. So the opposite of addition, well, that's subtraction. The opposite of subtraction, well, just like above, it'd be addition. The opposite of division, well, let's jump down to division, is the multiplication. And just like addition, subtraction, they are there. So multiplication is the opposite of division. Division is the opposite of multiplication. Alright, so we're going to use these now in 2 steps. In the one step, we only have to do one operation. So 2-step means we have to do 2 different operations. So let's say, again, I have x. Oh, okay. So let's do 2x minus 1 equals 5. Now, not all these will work out nicely. Sometimes you can get a fraction as an answer. That's perfectly fine. I know most people don't like fractions, but they are valid answers. Alright, so 2 steps. I want to get this 2x all by itself first. So I'm going to look next to it. I have a negative 1. So opposite of subtraction is addition. That's right here. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. 2x minus 1 plus 1 equals, I do to one side, I have to do the other. So it's 5 plus 1. Okay. So it's 2x, 1 minus 1, well, that's 0, so that goes away, equals 5 plus 1, that's 6. Okay. Now, that was the first step. That's step 1. Getting rid of this number here. Step 2 is to move this 2. Well, 2x, that means multiplication, because they're next to each other. So the opposite of multiplication, well, that's right here. That's division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So 2x divided by 2, like I said, we're going to use the slash, not the division sign, equals 6 divided by 2. Okay. Well, 2 divided by 2, anything divided by itself is 1, so that's just x. And then 6 divided by 2, well, that's 3. So for the two-step equation, it is a little longer, not really more complicated, just one more extra step you have to do. Now for the multi-step, which is the next step up, this is where Algebra 1 really starts. These two here, the 0-step, the 1-step, and the 2-step, those are mostly considered pre-algebra. For the multi-step is really where Algebra 1 starts, and that's its core. So this is going to involve what's called PEMDAS, or order of operations. Okay, this you may not remember. It's perfectly okay if you don't. I'm going to go into what each one means. Okay, so the P, the first one, stands for parentheses. Parentheses, there we go. Those are these. Let me get spell check, because I can't always spell, but I'm a math major. I'm a math teacher. That basically means I can't spell normally. Most math people can't. If I could spell, I'd go to English, but I can't at all. I have spell check for that. Spell check is your friend. Use it when possible. Alright. Second one is the E. That stands for exponents. Those are the little numbers on top of things. So that's sometimes seen as in with a caret or something of that sort, where it's like x caret 2 means x to the power of 2. Alright, the next one is multiplication and then division. Now these two do not have to be done in that order. You don't have to do multiplication first, then division. It all depends on which one comes first. So when you read it from left to right, so you read all of these just like before. You read 2x minus 1 equals 5 from left to right. Whichever one you hit first is what you do in that sense. The same goes for the last two, which is addition and subtraction. Addition, subtraction. Now I'll do an example of one that involves all of these. Again, multi-step could be 3 steps, could be 4 steps, could be more. Alright. So I'm going to make a basic one using parentheses and everything else. These will also involve other properties of math that you learn in pre-algebra. For example, the distributive property. Okay, so say we have 2 parentheses x plus 1 minus x equals 12. Okay, so let's see what this means. So we have to follow PEMDAS. That says first I have to look at parentheses and see if I can do anything. Okay, well, I have parentheses, and inside I have x plus 2. These are not like terms, so I cannot add them together. To be a like term, there would have to be an x here. This way they both have the same letter. Since they don't, I can't do anything. I cross that one off. Okay, next thing we move on to exponents. There's no little numbers up here. Like, so, there's no caret or anything. So that one I can also nix off. Not needed. Right. Next is the multiplication from left to right. Well, just like I have up here. Let me scroll up real quick. Multiplication can be seen as parentheses. So I have a set of parentheses here. It means I want to take this 2 out front and multiply it by everything on the inside. So that's 2 times x plus 2 times 2, which is 4. Then the minus x equals 12. Okay, so that's... now we're back to... we've done one step. We need to now see if there's anything else we can do on both sides before we move on. Well, let's see. I have 2x plus 4 minus x. So I have an x and an x. Like before, I was saying we can combine like terms, things that have the same letter. So this says it's 2x minus 1x. Okay, so those can go together. 2 minus 1 is 1, so I'm left with x plus 4 equals 12. Okay. Now we've done one step. We've now done 2 steps. And there's one last step to go. So this one's a 3-step problem. I need to get rid of this 4. Just like before, I have to do the opposite. So that is x plus 4 minus 4. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. 12 minus 4. Okay. So that is, let's see, x4 minus 4, well that's 0, so equals. 12 minus 4 is 10 minus 2, which is 8. So x is 8 in that case. So this multi-step equation was 3 steps. The standard length of them is 3 to 4. You don't get ones that are much bigger until you get into a lot longer situations. For example, like a quadratic or something. We'll go into that further on in a much later episode of this. But I just wanted to give you a base rundown of where Algebra 1 starts and gets its roots. So again, this is the basis of Algebra 1. This section right here, the multi-step with PEMDAS. That's something that we really need to remember and hone in, and I'll highlight that for us. That's the main part, the main emphasis of Algebra 1. Everything involves this multi-step equation. Whether you're dealing with functions or word problems, they all follow the same process of a multi-step equation. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed that little micro lesson or review. Please like and subscribe if you want to get some more of these, and leave some comments so I can hit topics that I know you need help with. I'm going to try and cover many different topics in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. I can also do pre-algebra and geometry and trigonometry and the other forms of mathematics. But I want to focus on Algebra 1, Algebra 2, where most people have the problems. And there's also the main high school subjects. So again, please like and subscribe. Leave comments for anything you'd like to see or like me to improve on. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.